I've kind of been feeling like I'm in sort of a bit of a rut with my knitting and crocheting at the moment. I have a very clear plan of all the things I want to make this year, and I'm really sticking to that. Outside of that, I'm not really allowing myself to be super creative, and I want to do something about that. Not so long ago, I randomly one day decided to make this filet crochet tapestry framing thing for one of my friends as a gift, and I really liked that sort of spontaneity, you know, thinking this is something that I want to do and I'm just going to do it. I've been kind of thinking about picking up quilting, and I feel like I always do this where I'm like, oh, I'll do this when this and this happens, or like I'm always waiting for the right time, but that doesn't exist. And I just got on with it one night and I just made the quilt. I haven't actually finished it yet, but I've done the patchworking of it, and it was very creatively inspiring and freeing. So doing something very fun today, and I'm gonna let Pinterest decide my next knit and crochet project. And the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to put the total amount of pins that I have in my knitting board and my crocheting board into a random numbers generator, and whatever number that is the project on my knitting board that I'm going to make. I'm going to fully zoom out of my desktop for each board, and I'm going to count going down. So let's say, I don't know, I need to pick number 10. I'll just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you know? Because that also means that at the bottom here are all my older pins, and here are the newer pins. So if I go down this way, top to bottom, row by row, I'm kind of really mixing new and old inspirations. I have had a clear out of both my knit and crochet boards because there was a lot of, especially older pins, that I don't really like resonate with that much anymore. And if I had to make one of those things, probably wouldn't enjoy it and get much wear out of it. I'm going to give myself a little bit of leeway, and I could either, you know, make that exact thing, find a pattern for it, freehand it, whatever, or if I don't want to make that exact thing, I can take some kind of inspiration from it, whether it's the colour scheme or the shape, or I don't know, anything that I can draw from that to then think of a new idea is also great because it gets me thinking a bit more creatively. Not counting my sub boards, I have 107 pins in my knitting board. I am generating a number and it's 46. So we're going to count down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6. Oh, okay. It's a 2-piece. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a 2-piece, but I do really like the shorts, and I like the linen-y sort of yarn. I do have a little bit more yarn left over from this, but I don't think it will be enough to make a thicker, like, pair of shorts. I'll have a little think about how I'm going to reimagine this, or if I'm going to follow this exact thing, but let's also do my crochet project. So again, without my sub board, I have 78 pins in my crochet board. Let's generate 74. Okay, I'll count from the back. So 78, 77, 76, 75, 74. Oh, okay, cute. I'm happy with this. I was kind of hoping it would be some kind of granny square or filet crochet thing because it can be done a lot quicker, and that actually works really well next to the knit project. If the knit project takes a bit more time, then this one could be quite fun. I am obsessed with the idea of the granny squares forming like a wider pattern, just like quilting. Isn't that funny that I've just mentioned that as well? Interesting. Again, I don't know what I'm going to actually make with the granny squares, but I'm happy with this project for sure. Okay, I will do a little bit of thinking, a little bit of brainstorming, and I'll get back to you with what I'm actually going to make. It has been some time. I've had a good think, and for the crochet one, I don't think I need to buy any yarn because I forgot I had this yarn that I got in Spain last year, and it is basically the same colour scheme as in the photo. I just don't have this like beige colour. So instead I'm going to use this sort of green tinted Wool and the Gang yarn. This is the shiny happy cotton. It works out slightly thicker than this yarn, but only ever so slightly, so I think that should be okay. So to start out with, I'm just going to go for a square, and then I also really like in this photo how they added the border around it, so I can make a square and then add like a more decorative border, and then I want to put it in a frame. And then for the knit project, I'm actually going to go out and buy some yarn. I did weigh the yarn that I've left over from this poncho, and I'm like 50 grams short, and I also don't want the shorts to be as see-through as this poncho, and then I think it would look weird if the shorts were thicker or like not as meshy as this, so I couldn't really wear it together anyways. That was my initial thought. If I make some shorts in this, then I can wear as a two-piece, but I think it will look weird. So instead, I'm going to get some linen yarn, and I found this simple summer shorts pattern by Wool and Beyond, which looks perfect. It looks very similar to the ones in the Pinterest photo. They recommend a linen yarn from Sandnes Garn, so I'm pretty sure since it's summer coming up, my local yarn store will have something similar. I know they don't have Sandnes Garn, but they'll have like some other yarn brand. I'm gonna go grab some linen yarn in town, and then we can make a start. No luck, unfortunately, in town today. They didn't have any proper linen yarn anywhere, or they did, but I couldn't get the yarn weight right, and I didn't want to take the risk of kind of like making it up along the way, because I feel like with shorts I want the fit to be just right. So I did actually order the exact Sandnes Garn yarn, and hopefully they'll arrive at some point next week. But in the meantime, this evening I made a start on the Crochet granny square, and I don't know if I'm loving it. I don't know if it's because this yarn, the green, looks really strange, but I am currently adding the frame around it, and I don't know, it's not like amazing me enough to be like, wow, I really want to put that up in my room. But I'm going to finish the border and then we'll see what I think. I don't know. Actually, what I think I might do before I use up any more yarn unnecessarily, I'm going to try and repeat the pattern, but instead of using the greenish yellowish here, I'm going to use the blue instead. Don't know if that'll make that big of a difference, but I feel like maybe that could look a bit nicer. I've not had any time today to crochet, and clearly also no time to cuddle with Betty Boo. Look at her, she's all cozied up in her bed. Guys, she's literally so cute. I'm realising that I'm being that really annoying cat parent that just keeps going on about how cute their cat is, but honestly, look at her. But yeah, I haven't done any more crocheting today. However, I did get quite far last night and made almost a full square. Changing out the blue with this sort of yellowish yarn was a good choice, because I do think it looks so much better now, and I really like how you can kind of like see the pattern slowly sort of merging together. But yeah, I'm missing one more square. I couldn't find a chart for this, so I was just working off the example photo, and now I'm just working off my squares. I don't even need to look at the photo anymore. And then, as you can see on the back, I'm kind of wrapping the yarn after each stitch, so it sits at the back so I can carry it with me. It's not as satisfying or like as mindless as normal standard granny squares. There was a moment where I was like, wow, I could really turn this into a blanket, like a summery blanket. The question is just whether I can be asked to do that. I don't know. I do have a lot of this yarn, and having made these 3 squares, I've not used up a lot of yarn, so it could be a very nice blanket. But yeah, I'm just gonna aim for 4 squares for now, and then we shall see. But yeah, I'm gonna do the last one and I can join it together, and then we can actually see what it will look like as like the final square. And I'm done. It looks really cute, and I might add a border around it, like I said before, inspired by that other photo. And then I was just thinking, I'm going to continue with this yarn, and I'm actually going to make a blanket, just not with this granny square stitch. And I feel like that is like a good way to be using this video. Like, you try something, you might not 100% love it, but what are you going to take from that? I really like this yarn. I like how it feels, I like how it flows, I like how it weighs, I like the colour combination, and I have a lot of this yarn that I don't know what to otherwise do with, and it would be the perfect amount for a blanket. However, I don't like the actual granny square. I do like it, but just like the act of making it I don't enjoy. And if I'm thinking of like a large project, I should be also enjoying that process. The yarn for my shorts has arrived. That came fairly quickly, to be fair, and I went for this brown colour. I was kind of hoping to be a little bit darker than that, like more of a proper chocolatey brown. I do also need to get the pattern up, that would be helpful, wouldn't it? Do you think there's a few changes that I might have to make to it? The rise of them looks quite high, but I like to have things sit more of like mid-rise. So I might just do the waistband as is and then maybe skip like 5 to 7 rows of the like rise to make them a little bit shorter. But other than that, this all looks great. So I made quite some progress with these shorts. I had to kind of just like lock in when I was doing the short rows, and I actually noticed after I made like the waistband or a few of the short rows that I was following a size up than I was meant to, and I thought, you know, it's fine. I quite like a looser, lower fit anyways, but I actually think they are too big now. Like they fit, but they sit a little bit lower than where I want them to. Like I don't want them super high-waisted, but I kind of want them here, and they are too loose to naturally sit there. And I thought I could just open up the waistband and shorten the elastic to tighten it, but when I tighten it, I could ideally like get rid of all of this, and I don't know if I want all of that bunching. I have obviously done a lot of knitting already on this, but I feel like I'm not in too deep yet to undo it all and start again and make it tighter. Like I don't want to cut corners. I want to actually enjoy wearing this and know that I've kind of like put all my effort into this. I have actually already started a new waistband, which is now 1 or 2 sizes smaller than I went for, because this waistband, when I hold it up, this sort of section here that I could get rid of is 10 stitches, and on the sizing the 10 stitches equated to like 2 sizes smaller, so that's what I'm gonna go with. Probably going to frog all of this to be able to reuse the elastic, and I'm going to cut it down a little bit, make it shorter. It's a beautiful day today. It's Sunday. All I'm planning to do today is knit this morning, go to yoga, and knit the rest of the day. Fantastic. Are you comfy? Are you so comfy and cozy in the sun? Okay, this feels so much better already. Like it hits just below my belly button here, which is how I like it. It's not too tight, but it's keeping the fabric in quite nicely. So I definitely think it was a good shout to size down a little bit. I think at some point after having done the short rows, you have the option to extend the hips, so I might look into possibly doing that. The waistband itself is already shorter than in the pattern because I just used like whatever elastic that I had, and I think mine is a bit slimmer, so that already will take off a little bit of this like high rise. But I still don't know if the rise itself is going to be too high, so I'm just gonna have to play it by ear. But I think I might just follow the pattern as is, and then if I feel like it is getting too long before doing the leg, then I can always just like stop. But then I would end up with too little amount of stitches for the legs. So I don't know, I might have to rejig, but I can do the short rows and I can go outside and sit in the sun. I ended up frogging all my progress today because I thought that I was doing the increases on the wrong amount of rows, but when I just now redid it, I realised I was just not counting right. So that's great. I've been listening to the Ballad of Songbirds. It's not as good as the Hunger Games, but it is still a fun listen in the background for knitting and stuff. This project does progress quite fast because the yarn is fairly thick and really the main chunk of work is now happening. Like I just need to add some length in the front with the increases and then it's already time to separate the legs. And I've realised that the easiest way to make them a little bit shorter, like the rise a little bit shorter, is by just stopping, like whenever I think the rise is high enough. And then I'm just going to cast on however many more stitches for the crotch to add up to the amount of stitches that I need for like my thigh width. What I do like about this pattern is that you can adjust it. So the waist was one size and then I was able to go up a size for the hips. So the hips are going to be wide enough, and I think I'm going to recheck the measurements when I separate for the legs, if I need to go up a size maybe for my thighs as well, because I do like things to sit looser. I feel like today was such a good representation of how we wanted to make the garden work for us, because in the morning I'm able to sit in the sun right at the back of the garden. In the day I'm able to sit on the sofa in the middle of the garden, and right at the end of the day now the sun kind of tilts that way and all the garden is in the shade, but then this little section here when we put the big door in is in the sun. So all hours of the day in the summertime I can be in the sunshine. Right, I think let's do a fun little transition because I'm just going to keep working on these shorts like all night, I think. So this is where I'm at tonight. And this is where I'm at this morning. I finished one of the legs. It was so quick once you got to the leg part because this is only like 4 centimeters. I think I went a little bit longer just so like my arse cheeks aren't hanging out, you know. But all I need to do now is the other leg and then I'm done. I'll show you them on as well. Please ignore the mess in the background. We are still moving things around and I think we will be for like the next 2 months, so apologies, but they look so cute. I'm gonna try and like not fully show my crotch off, but they look so nice. They are a little bit tighter around the leg here, but I'm pretty sure they will stretch out both after blocking but also when I'm wearing them. They usually flare out here, so I think it's quite good that they start out being fairly sort of tight around the leg. In terms of the waist, I'm really happy where they hit. This is exactly where I want all of my trousers and stuff to hit, so that's perfect as well. But yeah, I'm just gonna do the other leg and then I can do a proper finished try on. Now, whilst the shorts are drying outside, I thought we could do an update on the crochet project. I had a long, hard think about what I wanted to do, and I experimented a little bit with different types of granny squares, because whilst I do really like a crochet granny square blanket, I don't always like how loose or like airy the sort of holes are from the granny squares. So I actually tried to do a block square, which is where one row is single crochet. So basically what I did for the first like, sort of quilter square that I did, but I didn't actually love how that looked. So instead I just went for a very classic square like this, and I'm trying to make it a little bit tighter, or as tight as I can, by instead of chaining 2, I'm only ever chaining 1 in the middle ones and also only 1 in the corners. It just makes everything a little bit tighter. I looked at a few different granny square blanket designs. There's lots of really cute ones. The one that I stuck with is this one. I really liked how it was kind of different with the sort of middle rectangle and how it then just has normal rows. I feel like this is going to turn into such a nice summer blanket to have over the sofa in the garden, or also just like on the grass. I have actually already made quite good progress with this. I was kind of working on this on and off, waiting for the yarn for the shorts to be delivered. So this is where I am currently at, and I'm now connecting these strips of granny squares with the granny square stitch border that I made around the center. You can see the center is a little bit sort of warped, but that's where I still use the 5mm hook, and then I went to a 4mm hook for the granny stitch. I don't really mind it like not being perfect, to be honest. I'm making my way around this side, so I need to still crochet a few granny squares for this bottom edge, and then I can just go around here, and then I would have already done quite a nice center for the blanket. I'm having to move so far back in the room because there is no way for me to get an angle where there isn't just like mess everywhere. These are the shorts now that they are blocked, and I think I need to make some changes to them. They look fine, I think, like they are a pair of shorts. I just don't like how they feel and how they sit. So as expected, the rise is very high. I have already reduced it by 1 increased repeat, so that's about 7 rows for me. I already took away. I think I need to take away another one because the crotch is so loose here and it's hanging like quite far down my thigh, and I don't like how that feels, like it's just rubbing in between my thighs. I think instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to frog the legs back, frog back 7 rows of the rise, and then I'm going to re-knit the legs, and then I'm just going to make the legs 7 rows longer in order to make up for the length of the rise. And I'm just picking up more stitches in between the crotch than I need to, because I also like how that then gives me a wider leg, you know, by casting on more stitches, just so that I still have the same stitch amount and the same width that I need for the thighs, because I do like how wide that sits. I just don't like how baggy it is here. Like, they are obviously supposed to sit more high-waisted, so then the crotch is like more where it should be. I just don't like wearing them there. I want them here. That actually comes in quite handy because I've been working on my blanket quite a lot, and I just had to make the decision to stop working on it for a few days because I can feel my hand getting sore. I always say how much I love granny squares, and it's because of how addictive I find it. Like the granny square stitch, and I'm just incapable of putting the project down when I have one on the go. Oh, should I do like a quilting like blanket reveal? Let me do that. Okay. Right, here we go. Word. So yeah, I've come quite a long way. This is a good amount. What I was working on is adding this really thick black border around the edge because I had so much more black yarn left over, because as you can see, apart from the border I added around it, there isn't that much black being used. And I also, I don't know how obvious it is, on the longer sides, I added like 3 rows more than I did on the top because it was turning out to be too thin, if you know what I mean. Like, it wasn't enough of a rectangle, so I just wanted to bulk out the width a little bit more. I might do that again later on if I feel like I need to bulk it out even more, but I'm now at a point where I have 3 skeins of blue and red, 1 black and 1 yellow. So my plan is now to add another row of granny squares around it, kind of how I did this one, but I'm going to reverse the colours. So it's going to be red background with blue center. I'm going to put this on hold for a little bit, and obviously I now have the shorts to work on, which is perfect because I was actually going to just cast on a whole new knit project, but maybe it's good that I'm just going to finish these. I cannot believe I'm ending the video looking like this. I just spent this morning painting our bedrooms, so I looked a little bit worse for wear, let's say. But I finished the shorts last night, so I of course wanted to show you. I looked back the video of my first try on and oh my god, they were just giving like flaps at the front here. It really wasn't cute. I think they look much better now. I still haven't woven in any of the ends because I wanted to see this morning whether I was happy with the fit and the length and everything. I ended up knitting way more rows than I thought I would because I really wanted to have coverage at the back here, and they do kind of like fall to the right length, like how I usually like them, and at the front as well. They are just like a bit longer, whilst the rise is now like 2 sections shorter than what the pattern called for. They obviously need to be blocked because you can tell where I re-knit the bottom section. And then I think I just need to wear them a little bit to get them to like fit a bit looser. I still don't love how they go in here. Like I prefer more of like an A-line shape, but I do think that comes with like sitting down and just like wearing them and then kind of stretching out and warping around your body. I kind of regret maybe was they going for brown. I feel like a more fun colour would have been more fun. I don't really know how to like style this kind of brown. I'll see how I get on, but I'm also maybe tempted to dye them either a darker brown or just fully black, because yeah, I feel like I would wear them a lot more. I also finished Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I much preferred the book to the movie. I went to see the film in the cinema and I really didn't like it. I thought it was such a drag, and now having read the book, it is mad how much nicer they made Coriolanus in the film. Like I understand it's hard to visually show in a film his inner monologue, but all the decisions and stuff that he made in the film came across so genuine, whereas in the book the whole thing is that he's constantly deciding whether or not to do the right thing, and he only ever does the right thing if that benefits him in some kind of way and he can like manipulate the situation. And that really didn't come across in the film, and I think that's a crucial element that the film was missing to like make the plot make sense. I forgot what the most recent book is called, but I've got that one on Libby as well. But what I thought yesterday is I'm going to hold off listening to that until the end of the year, just before the film comes out, because I really liked having just listened to the book and then watching the film, so I want to do that with the new film as well. This was such a fun video to make and to work on. I would have literally not done any of these projects. I wouldn't have just randomly picked up a pair of shorts. I wouldn't have started a blanket, but I love both of them. The blanket especially, I don't even know where it is. I put it somewhere. I think I'm going to use so much and I'm going to enjoy so much when it's done. And you know, these shorts I need to kind of get used to, but they were such a fun project to work on. And as with every pattern, I always learn so much. And yeah, it just kind of proved to me again that it is so important to give yourself some creative spontaneity and to allow yourself to just kind of like make things for no other reason other than wanting to make the thing. I think that's what I always really struggle with. I always have to like warrant and explain the reasoning behind why I make certain things, but I think that can really suck sort of creativity out of that. In a way, also being forced to just make the thing that Pinterest gave me was really fun, and to creatively think about how I'm going to make it work for me. If I would have had just opened my Pinterest board and gone pick a project, I would have been too overwhelmed by all the choice, and I would have sort of compared and just overthought the whole process so much more. And like for these projects, the decision was made for me and I loved every single bit of it. One last thing I wanted to mention, I wore my Heidi cardigan quite a lot in this video, as I do day to day anyways, and I'm happy to say that the pattern is now out. It's actually coming out the same day as this video is going live, so you can find that on my online shop, my Etsy, my Ravelry, everything. I'm either Ava P or Ava Paula on any platform you can think of, so you can find it there. It's a very big release for me in the sense that it has been in the works for so many months. It's my first knitted garment. It's my first properly, largely graded pattern, and it's a big thing for me. A massive thank yous always so much for watching. Hopefully I will see you next time, and until then, goodbye.